Right, so Nigel Farage, Richard Tice, and the Reform Party, they had one job, and one job only, and that was to get everyone in Britain who felt betrayed and displaced by the Uni Party, Labour and Conservatives to vote for them, and that's it. But I think they've blown it, and they've blown it spectacularly. And it's happened in such a short space of time that it could make you think that it was deliberate. Are they controlled opposition? Are they in it just for themselves? Who knows what the real answer is, but I'll tell you this much. Farage, Tice, Reform, they're not for us. Well, they're not for me anyway. And that's because the more you dig into the party, the more bleaker it gets. Now, for me personally, alarm bells started to ring when Richard Tice did that trip to the Ukraine. He had his photo taken. I think it was somewhere on the border, and he has since advocated more of his support for the Ukraine war, not something that sits well with core Reform voters. Of course, before that, he advocated for the jab and the lockdowns. And then the pair of them, both he and Farage, then committed right-wing seppuku when they slagged off Tommy Robinson and his supporters, calling them lot. That was then followed by an interview Nigel Farage made where he said that it wasn't his ambition to deport illegal migrants and foreign criminal gangs operating in the UK. And to top it off, of course, is that massive war with Rupert Lowe, which kind of opened up that crack into how Reform works, and it's not pretty, it's not democratic, and it's quite sinister. Now, as some of you know, I was unceremoniously booted out of the Reform Party conference in Birmingham a few weeks ago, but I still managed to see the speech Nigel Farage made, and it was online, of course, and it was kind of lacklustre, really. And I have to say, I haven't said this before, but looking back, as I was walking through the lobby of that arena on that day, as I was watching the security there, it was like something out of a, and forgive me for saying this, but it was like some South American dictator regime where only certain people were allowed to film and take photos. I wasn't, and when I did, I was chucked out. Anyway, so much for free speech, eh? But now I think this war with Rupert Lowe, it needn't have happened, but it did, and it did because the top two, Zia Youssef and Nigel Farage, just didn't like Rupert Lowe at the end of the day. His star was rising, and he was saying things which they disagreed with, and, you know, considering what Reform was meant to be and the premise, they should have agreed with him. And their dirty tricks have been exposed. Now, I was listening to the Dan Wootton show, where he had Rupert Lowe on, and they explained the story of Reform spreading about to the media, that the guy has dementia. Of course, he hasn't. And the Reform top brass, they have been briefing the media about this. I mean, why use a mental illness and cognitive decline to try and destroy the guy, especially when he doesn't have it? I mean, that's low, excuse the pun. And it was proven by a leaked WhatsApp message between Nigel Farage and whoever it was that leaked it to the BBC, that Farage knew full well Rupert Lowe didn't have dementia, and yet still the party pushed out this lie to destroy the fella. And then there's the issue of the World Economic Forum, and you hear Richard Tice, Farage, Lee Anderson even, they're all slagging off the WEF, World Economic Forum. They're calling them corrupt, Britain needs no part of it, and they're right, but I think they're lying, really. They're just saying what they think we want to hear. Because it's been revealed on X that Reform have a donor called Basim Haidar, and he is a billionaire World Economic Forum member. The guy is a full member of the WEF, and he has given money to Reform, but what does he get in return? We know what Zia Youssef received when he bought into the party. He got the party chairmanship and owning up half the company. And after that, Farage leans to the left. And now if all that which I've shown you doesn't convince you that Reform and Farage and Tice and the rest of them aren't our fellas, then I don't know what will. Again, you know, I'm not telling you who to vote for, who not to vote for. That is entirely your decision. A lot of other people have seen it, including Suella Braverman. Now, she was put off defecting to Reform after she saw the treatment of Rupert Lowe, so the party's going nowhere. All right, they're doing well in the local elections, they're getting council seats, but it's the general election is where we need them to do well, and, well, I did want them to do well. I'm not on the Reform bandwagon anymore. But who's going to join them now? They won't have any more big names because of what's happened to Rupert Lowe. They don't want the same treatment. And that's that. They've got their foot into Parliament. They won't even make opposition. I at the next general election, and if rumours are true, then Rupert Lowe is about to join the Tories at the end of the month. The cracks within Reform now are just too big. I don't think it can get repaired. James McMurdoch has jumped on the grooming gang inquiry set up by Rupert Lowe, and that won't please Yusuf nor Farage. So all the signs are there, really. And it's a shame because they promised so much, but in the end, they were in it for themselves and they fooled us all. What a crime shame, folks. What a crying shame. Anyway, there we go. I'm Paz49. Thanks for watching. And until the next time, Roger Trout.